As of March 23, 2022, we will no longer receive ad revenue for any video on this channel, even though YouTube still sells advertising on it. The reason, as we've been told, is because we are a channel that presents historical content as opposed to original content. We refuse to be blacked out. We need your support. Please buy Reelblack merchandise from the Reelblack store. Make a donation through PayPal or Cash App, or by joining our Patreon so that we can have the resources necessary to keep the channel growing. Please join our mailing list by sending an email to realblackinc@live.com and follow us on social media at Reelblack so that you can stay informed of future projects created outside of this platform. Reelblack 2 is our backup YouTube channel that carries new original content plus classics from the Reelblack Vault that will be monetized. We ask that you also subscribe there. Thank you. Hey everybody, this is Mike and I'm with...
What's up, Mike? What's going on? EP. It's EP, everybody. Eric Payne. What's happening with you?
It's a little bittersweet.
Yeah.
Well, let me get the banner set up and everything. Welcome as the room starts to fill in. This is the Reelblack podcast. We are live, so you can see in the you can join us live if you want to talk to us. That's where you join the conversation. Just have your camera ready on your phone and connect to StreamYard, and you'll be entered into the studio, and we'll take calls. We're definitely going to talk about Buffalo. But before that, I want to just pour a little liquor out for my mother, Rochelle Dennis. My mom, she'd been sick for about, she'd been in a nursing home for 2 years, right when COVID hit. She went to a nursing home, and since March 20th, that was when she was first admitted into the hospital with pneumonia. She was a lifelong smoker. Please don't smoke, people. I mean, it's horrible when it catches up to you. So she had lung disease, COPD, scarring of the lung tissue, and she also had been diagnosed with lung cancers. But, I'm happy to say that her transition was very peaceful. Relatively, there was no trauma put to her body because of the disease or anything. She just basically ran out of breath. And as I look at this picture of her, so many good memories flood back to me. Rest in peace, Miss Dennis. Oh, hey, Voyeur. So this morning I played I'll Always Love My Mama. And I know, Eric, you lost your mom as well. So
so I know the feeling. We both know the feeling, and unfortunately, there's a lot of brothers and sisters that know the feeling across the country, certainly in Buffalo. But Mike, I want to give you condolences about your mom, man, and I know how that feels. It's the unfortunate club that many of us are in. So I'm sure, as you can see, the brothers and sisters, sending their condolences as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful that she lived a long life and got to see the success of the Reelblack TV. We didn't get to travel much because COVID happened. But I would have loved to have taken her to Atlantic City or done something. But we had lots of great memories just going places to eat, going to the movies. She came down here and stayed a few nights in February, and played with her cat. It's just, so more happiness than sadness in this transition. So,
right.
Right.
I mean, it's, you wish you could say the same. I mean, I don't want to pivot, but there's other people out there feeling your pain, this weekend as well, unfortunately, right? In a really tragic way.
Yeah. We want to take your calls as well, but we're
Mm.
peace of families and friends, the victims of Buffalo massacre. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I was kind of preoccupied when that news hit, but it obviously hit so hard that it was hard not to know what was going on. I mean, where were you when you first heard about it? What was your reaction to it, Eric?
A friend texted me about a shooting in Buffalo. I didn't respond to the text, or I didn't pay attention to the news until like the next day. So next morning. So
Hmm.
yeah, you know, uh, I get emotional, I guess, about a thing because I'm like one of the people ready to shoot back. you know,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just it's. I mean, you have that heated, so something that you don't want to talk about, but also we keep getting confronted with this throughout our existence in this country, and trying to think about as it comes on, as it repeats itself over and over again. But we need to have whatever fixes we need to do, and to be in more positions of authority and power to negate a lot of this stuff that's going on, and a lot of these people who are perpetuating. I mean,
right.
straight up, there's the Republican Party, and a lot of these people, I mean, they straight up going with the white People's Party vibe. The whole replacement theory, which is their big thing now, with Jews want to replace white people, I guess. But I thought that Jewish people, most of them look white. So I'm trying to, but that's crazy because it's the racism within their own, you would think race,
Hmm.
same color. And then there's racism against black people. So that sickness that we need to eradicate this country from is something that we need to really work on. And, you know, we need to play chess. The other side has been playing chess. So they set up situations like this to happen, right?
Hmm.
The whole gun issue. This guy's 18. He's buying 2 assault rifles. He was apparently, I don't know all the facts. I just heard the little bits and clips, pieces on the news. And he
Right.
also was in a mental facility for a day or whatever. And I was talking to
For
somebody that said that they didn't know. No way his parents didn't know what was going
mm,
on. But I don't know, maybe there's parents out there who are totally clueless about what their kids are doing. But so
mm. Yeah. Well, sweet Petey, she says, I was so upset when I heard
yeah,
about the 911 operator allegedly hanging up on the assistant manager of the store.
yeah, I just read that. Wow, wow, man. See, my sister. I just noticing my sister right there, wishing
Oh, that's Lisa.
you and your mom. Yeah, I think you
Thank
might
you,
have.
Lisa. Yeah.
But yeah, PDF. I was. I'm just reading your text. I mean, you're reading your statement. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
And
there was a
it's a food desert too. It's they said that I was watching the governor on Joy just a few minutes ago, and she said now because I guess it's crime scene or whatever, but the area is a food desert anyway. That's like the only supermarket in the area. You ever been to Buffalo, Mike?
I have actually. When I was in college, we shot a short film there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did a play at Studio Arena Theater and like Niagara Falls. I guess Niagara Falls is in Buffalo too, right? Yeah, there's
Right
part of
there, yeah.
Buffalo.
Right at the border, yeah.
And that's when I realized, that it was kind of a black city, or at least a large population of a
Mm,
black city. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, I didn't have that experience. I was hanging out with a bunch of white folks for the week, but
I
I
mean, the
had
theater
some
I was
buffalo
working.
wings. That's something that I'll always remember is
Yeah,
when this is like 1990 or so when I was in college, uh and it was the very first time I ever heard of buffalo wings, let alone had some. So I had authentic buffalo wings from Buffalo there. But not to take away from the
right.
grief of the moment.
Right.
Um, yeah,
But
this guy, he wrote on his gun what his intentions was. So it was kind of hard not to disguise what this was about. Um, what was interesting to me was, some of our colleagues in social media talking about it. We had Yvette Carnell and Tariq Nasheed. I saw their Instagram posts around it, and Yvette was she was basically saying that Reverend Al Sharpton was trying to have a healing meeting. It's after the racially motivated mass shooting in Buffalo, Reverend Al Sharpton asks Biden to hold a summit of Black, Jewish, and Asian leaders. Um, but and then she's contrasting it to the when there was Asian hate crimes. There was specific. The White House went without asking and had a readout of the White House's listening session with Asian American and Pacific Island leaders. So it's there. Yvette is very ADOS. And for reparations, and she's looking at this from the injustice standpoint of when things happen to Black folks, it becomes people of color as opposed to specifically Black people being targeted. We have to include all the other minority
Right, waters
groups
down our
into our
yeah.
problems. Whereas and that goes for money when it's time to get money.
All kind of rights,
More,
set
more
aside.
money is exactly more money is just voluntarily given to other groups, and we have to beg and fight and stand on our knees for it. So I thought that was an interesting take. I mean, do you have any feeling about that? Or?
Well, that's a big part of the issue with social equity as it pertains to cannabis business, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the issues is that that Black and brown people get their fair share of getting a portion of that business, since we've been disproportionately targeted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there have been some instances of other people of color being able to, that haven't been traditionally targeted in that way, being able to take advantage of that aspect, and that was one of the concerns, I guess, with the social equity aspect. Not to mention just the how much that you'd have to start up capital.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's always been the concern, that us striving for rights for everybody, that Black people's rights get kind of mixed in and confused in and watered down. Our objective gets watered down sometimes, or we forget about what's our main priority. You could be on the same side as a lot of people in the form of a united front, but everybody's in there for a reason.
Right.
Everybody has their issue. Yeah. I'm looking at Stanky Piece of Blue Cheese. That's a classic name, but yeah, man. Yeah, if you're not a man or whatever, but that is a very good point. Uneducated poor whites are being played on for the envy and fear and hate to be. Yeah, but that's always been the case, right? That was the case. Hey, watch a movie called Free State of Jones, I believe, with Matthew McConaughey. It's not well known or wasn't a big hit, but it was pretty decent, and it dealt with poor whites that were fighting in the Civil War that didn't have slaves, couldn't afford slaves, but they're still, and yet they were fighting for the whole white supremacy thing, and they realized, like, maybe if we got, and a couple of the slave owners were getting leave from the front line to go to their plantation. There was a scene where the guy got to leave to go to the plantation to protect his property, and they had to stay because they didn't have property to protect. And they were like, hey, maybe 3 or 4 of us should get a slave so we can have property, so we can get out of here. And it was an ironic thing, but it was like, and how they all kind of left that, right? Check out the movie, but that's been like that since like the beginning, right? I mean, and that's the real thing, is the wealthy or the powerful taking advantage of people, and the way you can choose to dictate which people you can take advantage of is their physical differences, right? It's always been the thing with the rights, right? With racial civil rights as opposed to gay or LGBTQ. I'm sorry, forgive me if I get all the letters, but everybody included. I think that in certain scenarios, your physical appearance does in a survival situation where you're dealing with hatred people and people are terrorists. Uh, if you're easily identifiable by your physical appearance, then that's going to be the first thing they see. That's all I'm saying. They might not know your gender or whatever. That might not be as apparent in certain circumstances. So
Right.
just from a survival standpoint.
Now the other meme that's going around there is the photo lineup of the different mass shooters.
Yes, Stanky. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike. I'm just reading what Stanky, but Stanky peace. Stanky piece of blue cheese. That sounds like a lyric to a funky ass song by Ike and Tina Turner. Give me a stanky piece of blue cheese. That's a classic name right there.
Oh, let's read it. The 99% had a loud voice. The 1% saw that as a threat and has stirred the right wing hate machine into full force. Well, I mean that. That brings up the whole Twitter thing too. We have time. We can talk about Elon Musk in a minute. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, Eric, is the photo lineup of the white mass shooters next to the innocent black people that were shot. So sort of like the mass shooters were captured and not killed, but then there's a whole litany of
Yeah.
African Americans or people, black people, not even people of color, black people that have been killed by police for way less stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's a feeling that had this shooter been black, he would not have been taken alive.
Oh yeah, they would have. They would have lit him up. Wouldn't even have to be a shooter, right? You could be a driver.
Well,
For us, I mean, brother, I was talking to a brother yesterday, and he pointed that out. That they took him alive. They let him surrender. It's like, yeah, well, that's the MO.
yeah,
Excuse me. And the thing that we can't help but get pissed off about it over and over again is, hey Vivian, is it keeps happening. And as we become more diverse, the country. Someone was talking about on one of the shows. It was talking about the whole science, the whole theory and game plan behind this outcome here, and the whole references to white replacement theory, that's being perpetuated. And they said that was perpetuated really began maybe about 30 years ago or whenever it was that David Duke ran for governor, I believe. David Duke, the former Klansman out of Louisiana, ran for governor and lost, but he took like 55% of the white vote in the state there. So it was, and they were talking about this person talking about that Pat Buchanan, who was trying to run for president, thought that was a good, wouldn't even get in there. Get stopped driving in the parking lot. When he was pulling around the parking lot and get stopped, that brother would have got. But anyway, Pat Buchanan thought that was a good strategy that David Duke used, kind of the tribalism and rallying the white vote in terms of scaring them into thinking they're being replaced. And that's Jews. I still don't understand how the Jews are going to replace Jewish people. That whole thing just falls apart when I think about it. I guess I'm thinking about it from a person of color standpoint. That most Jewish people are white people, and I guess the white people who aren't Jewish, from whatever religion they practice,
right.
What happens if you can't tell somebody's Jewish? Because I've seen some redneck looking dudes from the South, or some Jewish dudes from the South. Do I consider them rednecks? Traditionally, what I thought. So I'm really at a loss with their philosophy and how they come to the things they come to. Yeah, that is Stank.
Well, let me reset the room as we're talking. We have a guest coming in around 8:30, but we wanted to talk about current events. Tribute for those who are just tuning in. Yesterday, my mother Rochelle Dennis passed away. Age of 77, lived a nice life. Not a bumpy ups and down life, but I love my mom, and so we had a tribute earlier during the morning music podcast to her, and we started off by paying tribute to Rochelle Dennis, and then we talked a little bit about the Buffalo shooting, and now in terms of the freedom of speech and where this country is headed. It kind of folds into Elon Musk and the Twitter situation, because he is on a campaign. Thank you, Dawood. And thank you, Spider-Man 7285. He's saying that when he owns Twitter, he would take the ban off Donald Trump and allow Trump to be back on Twitter.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge mistake. It makes me wonder what the agenda is, and if Baba Dick was here, boy, he'd have a field day on Elon Musk, I'm sure.
If who was?
Dick Gregory.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Well, I don't.
Who he's tied to, what his true intentions are.
I don't fuck with Elon Musk since he went on Saturday Night Live and said,
I know what you're gonna say.
Dogecoin, and let Michael Che trick him into saying Dogecoin was a hustle, and he think he's joking and all goofy. I had just been talked into getting into crypto around that time by my boy. I bought some Dogecoin. He was like, he's gonna be on Saturday Night Live, and if he mentions it, and man, no, I don't mess with that dude. And plus, the ban on lifting the ban on Trump, and Elon Musk has been known to say some pretty conservative and kind of, on the right side, side of things a little bit, on that side a little bit. So I don't know. He's not affiliated with that either, but it seems like some of his
he's affiliated with money.
Yeah, and
he's affiliated with money and
more aligned.
I think he understands that Twitter is the new newspaper. Like Jeff Bezos, when he got his billions of dollars, he went and bought the Washington Post.
Yeah,
and I think that this gentleman Elon wants to control social media, so he's putting his money up for Twitter, and he's already telling you, like, some of his tweets are saying, you don't know how much you're being manipulated by these algorithms and so on and so forth. What happens when he starts to control the algorithm?
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna let a guy get back on who just makes shit up? Trump makes shit up, man. Come on, you're just gonna lift his shit without there's not enough people that have access. We already know that everybody is the majority of the American public is not well enough informed, I think, and many of us that you guys might agree, obviously, by the caliber of the conversations that we have, they're not as informed, I would think, than many of us who might pay attention to the news and to really what's happening and to dig a little deeper. Certainly, if you're coming from the perspective of African Americans that need to be informed, that we come from, we know that we have to stay informed and know what's what, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, just light examples, knowing the importance of the vote, regardless of how pissed off you might be from it, just from a standpoint of paying homage to those who died to get you there, in case that wasn't clear to people, because that's, for me, that's really important, and things like that. So the American, to allow the dude to get by, I wanted to talk about tag too, but allow the dude to get back on social media when the majority of people, they're not researching that and cross-referencing their social media shit that they read and say, wow, that they're just, some people just believe in the shit they read immediately without any second thought, like, oh, that shit can't be true. I read shit, I must be crazy because I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Well, I read about the crazy shit that some of these right-wing people say and project, and I'm like, that can't be true. They didn't really do that, did they? And of course, they never failed to appease, to come through. But that's the thing. And Tag, that's a great point. Christopher Wray stated that too, right? Remember that hearing that he did? He stated that,
Yeah. So. No, but I mean, it's Instagram. I'm on Instagram a lot, and for those who don't know, please follow us on Instagram. please follow both of us on Instagram so that you can stay informed of what we're up to. So I'm
Mhm.
at Reelblack. If you want to type yours in, I'll put it
At
on the
Real
screen.
Black. I'm at Real Black.
You
I'm
know
at,
it.
I'm at the corner of Real Black and what could be the cross street? A Real Black, y'all. Somebody
Huh?
give it to me. What's the cross street? At the corner of Real Black and what?
Truth be told,
And truth be told,
I'm at the corner of Reelblack and
I
fresh
don't
off of
know.
mother's behind.
That's yeah. I'm at the corner of Real Black and fresh off Elon Musk ass.
I wish you would. But
What you got some good point and chocolate.
oh, where we at?
I'm kind
And
of lost
chocolate.
with you guys,
A
but
Real Black and chocolate. Okay. Hey, Dowd.
Real Black
Dowd was with us
and
this
Chocolate
morning.
Boulevard. Yeah, Dowd, I think I agree. Elon Musk is trying to bring it together. Probably mend those things. I mean, merge them. That's what's happening already, right? The whole metaverse shit.
Yeah. No, it's but I mean it's a drug, this whole social media thing. And you're
Yeah,
right. People don't have discerning taste when it comes to what they put into their brain. They just automatically assume
yeah,
that what they're being shown or what they're reading is absolutely true. And
yeah.
and then you have the cognitive dissonance. I've seen people like, for example, recently a friend of mine put up a picture of Flavor Flav, and he was like, "Oh, Flavor Flav died," right? And then somebody said, "Well, no, he didn't." And rather than take the picture down, he just said, "Oh, it was a hoax. I love Flavor Flav," or something to that effect. I'm like, well, then you're just spreading
People
more
doing shit like
disinformation.
that to get views and likes, man. They do that on the little news channels when they have that, that Zerknet or whatever that always is like the one that'll if you open your AOL or something like that, there'll be on the right hand side those kind of advertisement and
Hmm.
and tabloid-ish sites with salacious headlines. You click on there, but there's one that seems to be one of the conglomerates, Zerknet or something like that, but always has
Okay.
those stories like so and so died or passed or some shit like that. Yeah, well,
Oh,
that's a good
yeah.
bet, Tag, right? 1 billion and you make back 45. I mean, hell yeah.
Right.
I mean, he will make that type of money, right? If he does lift the ban on Trump, I think, and if he just goes straight balls to the wall and let everybody say whatever they want to say with no responsibilities towards accuracy in free speech, but then I think you should have some sort of disclaimer, right? Like entering this
Exactly.
website, you don't believe everything you read. Cross check.
Yeah.
Some of motherfuckers be like
Something.
Wikipedia.
But
Wiki,
then they'll even fact check against certain things. Like I put up a picture. Let me see if I can find it real fast.
they believe way more than we did, huh, Floyd?
There's a famous photo of
Back in the day, it was just JFK and what's happening.
what was it, when Jim Brown
Hmm.
and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Muhammad Ali
What was that? You're
all
talking
got
about
together.
that economic empowerment kind of committee that they probably tried to put together, and
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, so I put this picture up. Let me see if I can pull it real fast. Um
yeah,
this photo here, let me make sure the
that's
screen's
true,
clear.
Voyer. That's true,
Uh
and
let
that's
me,
true too, Vivian. Yeah, they will. I mean, that's what kind of social media is, right? It started out as everybody putting pictures of themselves and their food, and they're here and they're there, which is cool. I thought it was cool initially. The social media and the Facebook thing was really a great way for you to connect with old friends that you might have lost touch with. Yeah, that picture,
yeah, I
and
put this
also
photo
family.
up. I put this
Hmm.
photo. It was a very famous photo, and it got blocked by Instagram because they said that it was a doctored photograph, you know, that they had fact checked it and that this event never took place.
Wow, really? Well, this is actually if you said this was about the empowerment thing, they might have that might have been the technicality that they used. This is about when they all came together to support Muhammad Ali
Right.
when
No,
he
I mean I
was
just put the
arrested.
image up. I didn't have any, I just said mood,
Oh, really?
and they blocked it. They blocked that image. So I don't, but that's an authentic photo as far as I know.
Hell yeah!
I don't see anything doctored about it. unless this guy here is John Amos,
What guy?
and
Who you talking about?
uh,
Which guy? John
I'm
Amos.
just, or maybe this is what's his face?
There's Michael Irvin.
No, Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey. Yeah, that could be Steve
If they
Harvey.
put Steve Harvey in there, then maybe it's a fake photo. But
No.
that's just how, and I guess maybe we're in the midst of it too. And
So this is I forget his name, man. This gentleman
where
was brother to. He was a civil rights activist, I think, out of Ohio. I cannot. His name escapes me now, but his daughter is a newscaster here in New York on Channel 5. She used to be on Channel 7. Anybody in the New York area? The sister, Sykes.
okay,
Is it Sykes? Not Sykes, but anybody in New York knows what I'm talking about. And her father and his brother, I think, was first black mayor of Cleveland, and he was also a congressman as well. Wow.
yeah. So
Yes,
but
man,
but
yeah.
that could, it's such a wild west, social media and all that stuff, and that while we're waiting for our guests, I guess I can fill people in on the direction of the channel. Let me just give channel updates.
Was so who? What? He's a football player. Tag. I'm guys.
Oh wait, Tag is doing something.
I'm just reading, guys. How do y'all feel about bias and disinformation governance board? What? He
Well,
just put a board together to battle disinformation on the internet. Something has to be done. Stokes. Thank you, D. Carl Stokes, right? And his
Carl
brother.
Stokes.
That's right, Laurie Stokes. Carl Stokes and his brother. I don't know if that was Carl or not, but one of the Stokes brothers. One, I think, was on the news here in New York. I want to say, yeah.
Okay.
And the other one was the first black mayor, and the other one I think was a congressman. Stokes brothers out of Ohio.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we could show this kind of unity in today's
Okay,
life. Our artists or our sports figures or whomever, athletes and entertainers don't show any sort of consciousness or unity. If they do, it's on a tweet.
Carl and Lewis Stokes, right, Bruce? Right, D. Carl and Lewis Stokes, the Stokes brothers. Yep. But I see LeBron James doing stuff like that.
That's true.
I see what he's doing in his the school. He understands that's where it starts. We got to get our people young, start them when they're children, to make sure they have a good foundation at that education. It's like, I don't know. I'm going to assume that a lot of people out there are, hey, what's happening? I'm going to assume that a lot of people out there are close to our age, Mike.
Yeah.
And so the image in the classroom by the person who's your teacher is very important, and how they interact with you. I moved to the suburbs after the uprising in Newark in the late 60s. And so a lot of times I was like the only black one, or one of only a couple in class. So I think I'm sure a couple of you guys out there might know what that's like, and not to have the plethora that these kids have now, black teachers reflected back. My mother was a teacher, and my family was, active in the community. So I had those strong examples in my house, but a lot of us didn't. A lot of us didn't.
Well, one athlete that showed up and showed out was Kyrie Irving. After they lost, this was last week, April 28th. But he posted a meme of Dick Gregory from the Reelblack channel. So shout out to Kyrie Irving. But
oh, okay, nice.
4.4 million followers. Kyrie, we need some donations. Buy a hat. We're fighting a good fight. I'm not sure how we're doing right now, Eric, but we are selling a lot of merch. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you guys got to help Mike out, man. Help out Reelblack TV.
Yeah, I need to get like Dr. Umar.
You're on the Dr. Umar tip, huh? You want to get Dr. Umar on?
Well, we
Umar
can
is a
get
conversationalist.
We can get him. I mean, if that's what people want, we can do an hour with Dr. Umar.
Wait a minute, Stanky. Stanky, you messing me up. You're a white guy who grew up in a sundown town, so that means you're cool then. Messing around with you, man. Dawood, yeah, Dawood, it's got to be about the books, right? That's why they're trying to do critical race theory. That's why they're attacking critical race theory, right?
Right. Oh, because Kyrie's being outspoken, so he's about to get dropped.
You know, you guys know the thing. Yeah, is Kyrie about to get dropped from Nike?
That's what Dawood's saying. You know, I don't know. I just woke up to the tweet, so I was excited.
That's good. Yeah, that Kyrie retweeted your joint.
Well, I mean, I didn't. He just tweeted it. Period. You know, like I'll read it. Let me read it for people who can't see it. It's really small on their phone. It says, "When you become free mentally and spiritually, there's not much that this twisted racist society can surprise you with. My ancestors left behind all the wisdom and truth for their agenda to be exposed. When you know exactly who they are, they can't hide from their filth." So that's almost like the back of the DVD cover, if you ask me. For Dick Gregory, you know, so people are getting it. It's just they're making it harder for people to get it.
I think that era, you know, Dick a little bit later on, you know, like you said, he wasn't quite as sharp as he was. But anybody who hasn't seen the documentary about Dick Gregory, you guys need to check it out because I learned a lot. He was ahead of his time.
Definitely.
He's ahead of his time completely. What about Ali? Is he trying to get on or what?
I don't see him yet. No, you want to text him real quick, and I'll give some updates. Is there a way for you to text him? Yeah, we had a guest.
Yeah, I could text him. I mean,
okay, yeah, I don't see him.
I'm just reading what y'all are talking about over here in the chat, and I didn't know none of that about Kyrie.
All right, well, let's hold off on that real quick, just so I can give these updates while the screen is up. So we need people to buy merch. Buy merch. We need people to donate through PayPal and Patreon. We took a huge hit when the channel got demonetized, but the intention is to maintain the collection as it stands and continue to make it available. It's getting a lot of views, but we don't have a way for people. It's two things. We don't have a way to stay in touch with people. Like Google controls all of that. Everybody watching, Google knows that we're who you are, what your email address is, and where you're watching from. Unless you send us an email directly saying, hey, we want to be on your mailing list, we have no way of getting that information. So when we got into trouble, it was hard for us to solicit for support. You know, again, you know, with 1 million subscribers, if everybody gave 50 cents a year, you know, just to support the channel, we'd have no need at all.
50 cents a year? That ain't nothing. Wow.
If everybody who was watching gave 50 cents and it was 1 million people, we'd have $500,000. We would be able to make documentaries about these things that we're talking about. We're just having conversation about. We could make full-fledged films about. We could create entertainment. We could do tours. We could do all kinds of stuff. We could preserve the collection.
We need to have the community.
An innumerable amount of things to support our mission statement, which is to entertain, educate, enlighten, and empower Black people. Right now, we're in a difficult situation because there's no money coming in, and April 15th just passed. So it's a double whammy for the situation that we're in to be able to continue. Although we will continue, we are continuing. But what we need people really to join on Patreon. We really need people to make donations through PayPal or Cash App, just to keep the lights on, so that we can transform into the next phase of what this is. I thought Charles was going to be on as well today, but Charles is doing research for a new documentary that we're going to premiere next month in New York. And also we just got accepted. The significance of Sydney. Shout out to our Patreons, our $10 donors and up. have a chance to watch these movies on their own time. But The Significance of Sydney is going to be premiering next Tuesday, tomorrow, the
Good
17th.
title. Great title. The
Yeah,
Significance of Sydney.
let me type that in because that's tomorrow. Significance, Cance of Sydney, Sydney, it's Sydney Poitier, folks. Tomorrow
Yeah.
at Virtual Gary Festival. So if you type in Virtual Gary Film Festival and Reelblack, it'll pop up. But that's tomorrow, and we're going to be screening that online and doing a live Q&A. If I start selling fingernails and blunts, if we had the Weave channel, if Reelblack was just about how to get the best out of your weave, I'm sure, and no disrespect to any
Fingernails
of
and
our weave
blunts.
wearing viewers.
Yes, sir.
If you're watching this and you have your weave
Yes,
is
Brax.
tight,
You know what time it is, Brax. Deacons of Defense. That's old school.
and I don't want to offend
Black
anybody.
power.
You've got the best looking hair if you're watching Reelblack and you paid for it. As long as you paid for it, we love you. But he does tell the truth. We're
Assuming with the
trying.
fingernails, though, is the replacement they can come and buy when they come by the blunts. You threw me off a little bit.
I saw some wild nails today, so yeah,
The
Dawood
nail,
is
hey,
one.
the
Dawood
nail
is
culture is something. The nail culture that they got going on is something,
this.
man.
I'm sure there's a channel that has. It's called probably Fingernails and Blunts, and it probably has a gazillion subscribers. I'm very, very happy and grateful that we have 67 people in the room right now. As we wait for Ali, if he doesn't get here by 9, we may wrap up.
You guys kind of cracking me up. What about the struggling hair farmers? What? Some of y'all are writers, huh? That's
Oh,
funny.
Voyeurs comes in the morning too. So
Oh,
for those who
okay.
don't know, I play music in the morning from 9 until 10 or
Jam, Mike
sometimes 10.
jams too. Mike jams. We're
Oh,
trying to have my boy Ali I'm not quite sure on how to pronounce his name, but if he gets on, but if not,
okay.
check out his movie on the All Black channel called
Okay.
Staycation.
And we may be able to reschedule him if he's not able to come in.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to join a conversation? We've
I
got
thought some
time.
people wanted to sound off about the Buffalo situation, or what do y'all think what's the best way that we need to go about making sure that doesn't happen? Part of something that popped into my head, that there's been so much gun violence in the community, at least around the lower end of New York City area, is that, instead of us shooting each other, when we see some of that going down in the community, if have the wherewithal, then by all means feel free to take out your protection and use it to protect the community. That's what I would think would happen, but who knows? I mean, who would ever think that someone's riding around? I'm just wondering what people thought if they see this guy riding around with, you happen to look into somebody's car, unless you got tinted windows, and circling around the parking lot with a Kevlar vest on, an army helmet. I mean, you could theoretically think he was a police officer, right? Because nowadays they ride around loaded for bear. A lot of times, a lot of them that end up pulling over brothers just on the road. Some of them, they're kind of loaded up.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that was one of the things. I was with my aunt today. We were making the funeral arrangements, and we were at lunch, and we were talking about the Buffalo shooter and the fact that he was captured alive. And I said, and I mentioned what we mentioned earlier tonight. As my theory is that if he was black, he would not have been captured alive. And she said, well, what about the subway guy? A couple weeks ago in New York, he was black, and I said, you ruin it. That guy, he's not it. he was the exception to the rule. He shouldn't have been in there in the first place shooting. In the first place,
Yeah,
he took the job from a white guy.
and
I
also
should,
too,
and that's a joke. All right, because that was a joke. All right. Anyway,
and
people will
that's
take things out of context.
yeah,
Anyway.
that's a false equivalency, right? I mean, in one of the news stories I saw, uh, uh, and this will goes to your point, 5 star. In one of the news stories, in terms of how people try to do a kind of a smoke and mirrors type of thing. In one of the news stories I saw, they talked about this shooter, mass shooter, hate crime, racial hate crime, and they said another mass shooting in Milwaukee after the Bucks game. They were shooting, and a couple people were shooting at each other. No, and there wasn't a mass shooting. That was, cats wilding out outside the club and started popping off each other. But they tried to associate, but because it was mostly black people that you saw within the clip, they tried to. It seemed like they tried to have some sort of false equivalency to kind of, make both things equal. And that's what they do. They don't really report it accurately, or they try to do a smoke in the mirrors, or like to 5 stars point. Yeah, of course they're not going to report that was the case. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
he got
Voyer,
away.
Voyer, you taking it back.
They wanted to shoot Larry Davis. Trust me.
Yeah, you taking it back, Voyer. Yeah, that's true, Tag. You know, I don't know about the last.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of their that statement, huh? You're kind of paraphrasing that old statement. Who originally made that statement? Oh, what was the only thing that could kill a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Okay.
But there's also a similarity to the only so and so is a dead so and so. I thought a Bull Connor type, made that statement back in the day. Yep, DC Sniper got the. No, he wasn't. He kind of turned himself in, though. He wasn't in a situation where where he was, caught out. I don't think he was in a situation where he was caught kind of red-handed in the middle of the thing.
Well,
and also
he didn't get Burger King while he was being interrogated.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a double standard.
Yeah,
but
of course. But they have gun clubs. Gun clubs have increased during the Trump era.
Yeah. But yeah, again, I think it's a false equivalency as well. I do think that if the image of the typical gun owner shifts over so that it includes black law-abiding citizens as well, then maybe we'll start to see a change in terms of what the gun laws are and what the restrictions are. But I'm not I'm a peaceful person. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So I've never fired a gun in my life. So
I mean, we're all peaceful people. I mean, the whole thing, and it's about survival. When it seems that to be that a country has had the philosophy of regular. Yeah, Chris. Thank you, bro.
That's the big ups for Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what was I saying? I'm sorry. I just lost my point.
Guns
in the celebration, but yeah, their thing is not to let us have the equal gun ownership. Oh, there was a clip of they did an experiment with the open carry law in Texas. Remember, they had the white guy walking with the AK slung over his shoulder, walking through somewhere in Texas, and the cop pulled up. A cop did come up and pull up, but he just pulled out the car and talked to him very, hey, bud, what's going on? It was a whole thing. With the brother, cop pulls up, jumps out the car, get on the ground. Same thing. It's an open carry state, but it's a different standard to apply that law, right? That's always been the case for us.
Yeah.
It's
a bit crazy. Vashon Quinones is here in the building.
Fred, yeah, good. I mean, that's a possibility. What's up, Vashon? Yeah, America, with its, I mean, our gun culture perspective, I mean, if you've ever shot a gun, I've shot a gun.
Yeah.
In a way it's made to fit in your hand. and the way it feels a little bit, uh, you know, it's easy to get used to shooting it. Now, I mean, you shoot it for target practice and stuff like that. Yeah, that's true. That's why we have to think about those things. Also, too, who we recognize. Whose authority do we recognize? Right? Under
Mm-hmm.
what authority? Because, and I'm veering off to the other point from the guns, but it's kind of all makes sense, right? Because back in the day, it was illegal to be black and free. So police. What did the police do? They enforced the law. So if you were black and free off the plantation, then you got arrested and taken back to your master, right? So okay, sucked. You live down this. No. So took the. I hate to say it, but
Mm. Well, which one are you reading so I can put it on
um,
the screen?
I'm reading. It sucked. Second part of his statement. I also took
Okay.
the beginning of gun course in Buffalo. I hate to say it, but the course was run by a guy who with an SS tattoo. Just so, yeah, there a lot more of them are embedded in law enforcement and all of that. That's been traditionally, left out. I was talking to some people in law enforcement and diplomatic service and FBI and things like that not too long ago, and they were black, and they said, yeah, there's not a lot, not a lot of us, very small percentage. And I mean, just look at history and look at the footage you've seen over the years. See how many of them, who's who behind the presidents and stuff like that.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah. They they want to
Mhm.
control it, but it just seems like we took a break from random mass shootings or hate crimes during the pandemic, but now it seems like it's like nothing's happened, nothing's changed since before the pandemic. So
Why you bringing them up, Stanky? Yeah, I know they started. They are solid blocks within that foundation that we're dealing with now, right? They sure are. Those two guys, and yeah,
I
don't
wish
miss the ladder at all.
I wish Charles was here. I know he's got a strong opinion about this whole thing,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
he's
yeah, that
taking
is.
he's taking care of business. We got to get ready
Oh
for the
yeah,
stock.
yeah. I understand, and that he's got to do what he's for Charles. He's got working on your project there. Um, I'm just reading tags thing. Yeah, it's a pretext. Blackness is a pretext to stop. How do we uh how do we combat that? Is it a certain type of blackness? And depending in certain areas. If you ride around with your hat all straight to the front, y'all know. I don't know if y'all know sometimes, but most of the roles I play on TV are cops and detectives, right? And I don't know whether it's kind of living in the suburbs. Well, not even that because not even that because people can't hear me speak or anything like that. But the fact sometimes when I wear my hat this way, right, as
Hmm.
opposed to this way, is saying something a little different. And to
Right.
some people, I guess the way I carry myself sometimes, I look like a square to some people. All right. So in certain circumstances,
Wait,
I
hang
might
on, just a second. Hang on. All right.
yeah, there you go. See
All right,
now
hang on. The other way. There you
you're gonna get pulled over. You're gonna get pulled over. In certain circumstances, yeah, right. I might be able to negotiate my way out of certain things, right? If I look like I'm on the job, as they used to say it about police officers.
go. Hmm.
So, uh, and who knows when that's going to apply? Because in certain parts of the country, that don't make a difference at all, right? There's black cops have been pulled over and hassled and stuff like that. Whose authority is not recognized by cops when they're outside of their jurisdiction. They don't even. Some of them don't get that professional courtesy. You know.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock here, almost going on 9. I just want to do a roll call
Hmm.
because the room's been pretty consistent. We've it's been the
Yeah.
same number the whole time.
Uncle
So we
Ronnie.
appreciate everybody hanging out. But where are people watching from? I'm just curious. And we can take that in the chat. Where are people watching from?
Yeah, I gotta read that decision. That's one of the ones touched on in college a little
Yeah,
bit, but I want to, a lot of this stuff. I've never read the Constitution. I want to actually read the Constitution, but when I hear about that we're just considered 3/5 of a man, then I'm figuring what the hell? Why do I need to read it? Because it's a bullshit, of the very foundation. If you starting off from a place where um, the people that are writing this thing that's supposed to be this great document of humanity and rights, and they have slaves across the yard in the barn, then it kind of negates your authority on the subject of freedom and liberty and
yeah.
justice for all, right? It kind
Well,
of shoots that in the foot, wouldn't it?
that was Ellie Mistal. We had him on. I wish more people would watch that interview.
Oh,
But
you
he
had him
talks
on?
about
That's my
how
man.
the Constitution is a piece of trash, and it needs
Yeah,
to be rewritten from the ground up.
yeah. I mean, you can't take it too serious. So I want to go up a little bit. Who said they're from? This guy keeps texting me stupid shit. Who
Oh,
said they're
that's you.
from
Okay, I'll keep checking.
Buffalo? Sucked. So how's everybody doing up there? Sucked. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure it's the city is
yeah. Suck said
not happy.
the
It's
rest. He said he lived right down the street from Tops.
mhm.
So, I mean, and again, our condolences to the 10 people that lost their lives, and you know,
Upstate New York is really funny because it's very Republican up there, man. When you get outside the New York City area, I guess Mount Vernon, I guess New York County, uh, I guess it's New York City County, right, or whatever. But the rest of the state, upstate, is they're pretty Republican, man. You know,
yeah, it's
yeah.
it feels. I hate to say it. I mean, with the economy the way it's going, I mean, oh, that's another question. This I'm curious about for the people watching. How much is a gallon of gas where you're watching
Yo,
from?
I filled my tank up, but I think the dude got me because he told me to pull back a little bit. And I was like, "Why can't you pump it here, man?" He didn't explain. Came to explain that this pump is broken. So I told him to fill it up. I wasn't looking, and I told him regular, but it was so expensive. I looked later. I think he charged me like this premium
Oh,
just to
that's right.
get
You're in
back at me.
Jersey. You're in
Yeah,
Jersey.
it was like
They
seventy
have
five
to put.
dollars.
Ouch.
I got a Wrangler. Yeah, it's
I filled up. It was
from one of those
50.
Republican parts, right, Chuck? From one of those. Yeah, I saw that on the news. From one of those Republican parts. Yeah.
Yeah. 479 Long Island. Here it was 449. I'm outside of Philly.
What's that conversion? 5 star.
Oh,
Is that cheap?
in Toronto. The Canadian dollar. A liter is
Yeah.
smaller than a gallon.
Mm, yeah.
A liter is what, like a 2 liter bottle is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was interestingly put, wasn't it? Yeah, everything's going up, but that was interestingly put, huh, Chuck? Charles Williams said he could taste the pain. Joe. Joe Biden, he's a special dude. I'm not mad at him. Hey, listen, let me tell y'all something, right? As soon as we go outside Buffalo. Yeah, yeah, I know. I'm sure you do. Nothing but Trump flags, huh? But I'll tell y'all something about Joe, right? Some of y'all might be, little on the fence about him. Yeah, we got to go with him because he's our best opportunity, with the Democratic Party at the time he was. But when he talks about being a lifeguard in the black neighborhood, we figured that it might have been like, just imagine, it might have been around the 50s, right? When that black white thing, was still pretty thick in America. And they were literally drained pools. If a black person got in the pool, that
Hmm.
most a lot of white people. Joe
Hmm.
Biden volunteered to be a lifeguard where he would have had to get in the same water and put his wet body up against the other against the black people's wet body. So that might tell you that he might not be, some people think he's a racist, doesn't really care about black people. If he's willing to jump in the water and swim and put his arm around and save somebody black, that shows at least he's a human and sees all people as human beings. So just consider that. Check him in 94. Oh, you're going to just shoot down my whole. Yeah, Joe was a little bit, right? He was what? He was a little bit rough on Anita Hill, wasn't he? I think he wasn't the most helpful at that time, right?
Yeah.
And he was down with the crime bill. That's what you're saying? I think a lot of them were down with the crime bill too. You cooling off until we get somebody better. It's about winning. It's about winning. We can't afford to let one of them get in because then you know, right? Exactly. That's okay because we needed to get him out, right? So just as long
Yeah.
as we understand the mission, we need to win the game, y'all. We can't worry about the little battles on the sideline and all that. We need to win the game, and I think sometimes that's where we fall down. Real talk. Everybody want to have their opinion, but at the end of the day, we need to synthesize that, all streamline it down in one, and all march in one direction. That's how we're gonna really make progress. And I think when you get distracted with some of the shit that Bernie Sanders was talking about, great ideas, but it wasn't his time then. So he should have fell in line and got down and behind Hillary. Real talk. Some people and those of us that are in minorities or minorities in the voting system, we can't afford to throw our vote away. So yeah, he is. Everybody's part of the system. They built the system.
Right.
I'm with you on that. The whole thing is who
Right.
controls the system, who controls. Yeah, and he gave him and he spoke really highly of him in that clip, right, Tag? I know what you're talking about.
Well, it's tag right here.
He didn't say he saved anyone. I'm just talking about you talk about him being a lifeguard, potentially. I'm just saying him potentially getting in the water when they was draining the water back then. Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't even
But
know
that's
the
that's
run
something
on
else
to the
that's
tunnel.
infuriating a lot of people. All this is happening during the Ukrainian war.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously refugees are coming over, but at the same time we're hearing about Haitian refugees dying,
Yeah.
uh, uh, people coming from Puerto Rico dying, trying to come over here, but the
Oh
the,
yeah.
the gate seems to be wide open for
For the Ukrainians.
Ukrainians,
I saw
and
that
people
story
people feel a
too.
certain way about that.
I saw that story too, particularly with them coming through Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And they were saying the Ukrainians were getting. So who? So
You're reading something.
I'm reading. Yeah, Mr. Gregory put a sign about that devil that don't make him an advocate for blacks. Saying, well, let's go Russia. All right, I see you. You on the trolling. Let's go Russia.
Yeah, I hate that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you trust the system? No. That's why I say you got to control it. Then you can trust it. You know. Or would you
The
rather?
system, take it from me. The system will allow you only to go but so far.
Well, I mean, yeah. How you control? How do you change a system? You got to change it from within, unless you get enough power to change it from without. But how is that? How is that going to go down? You know.
Right.
I mean, on the real, let's think back when Dr. King and Malcolm X, right? If we're the population, if we have a small population, I mean, let's just break it all down. Let's just say we go knuck up and war and have another civil war and get down with it. The numbers don't. If we're 13% of the population, what does that tell you? We will be outnumbered, right? And if we don't control all of those areas of society, guns, military, manufacturing, guns, and things like that, then what? Then how do you? I hear everybody, but when we talk about the reality of things, so then what do you do then? How do you move? That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
You
let's
know.
let's correct EB. We apologize if we just didn't quite understand where you're coming from on that previous statement. Okay. It's all love here. It's a very safe.
Hmm?
I actually I'm enjoying.
No. Who's
I'm
never saying I'm
enjoying.
not
I'm
calling
enjoying
just
the
saying I'm
chat. I
calling.
mean, we've done our hour. Do you want to just read the
I was just
chat?
talking
And
about when you were saying Russia because I don't think. I
yeah,
mean,
the Russian
clearly,
thing was a little crazy.
that's I don't know. I'm just joking, really. We supposed to go at it and talk about that, but I don't think that's I assumed you were joking anyway in the first place, but
Right.
you know, I don't think that that
Yeah.
Putin damn sure that he just straight out with his oppression. I mean, ask Brittany, right?
Oh God. Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about that. They're about to do a a prisoner trade to get her back home.
Yeah. I mean,
But
she's still,
she's there for a vape. We gotta give the talk about trades. The person we're gonna trade her for is a gun arms dealer. She got caught with a vape pen, and we're
yeah,
giving back one of the world's most notorious arms dealers to get her back. So
yeah.
Brittany Griner. But yeah, I mean we can hang out for a little bit and just follow the chat. If people want to jump
You know,
on, they can. But for those watching
I
live,
went to Russia. I visited Russia. I went back in
okay,
back in was it 79, 80, right? I used to do a lot of stuff with the YMCA
okay,
and a lot of exchange trips. And I went there, and I was in college. And it was part of its other organization I was in within the YMCA to travel to Europe and stuff like that. More from a political standpoint. I was in youth and government. Some of you guys might have heard Boys State and stuff like that, where you learn politics, civics, and things like that. So
hmm
one of the trips was to go to Russia and meet with what they call the Young Pioneers Club. And Young Pioneers Club is the equivalent to the YMCA there.
okay,
And it definitely is a controlled society. I was there for 2 weeks, and we were discussing of all things, detente, nuclear disarmament, and why our two countries need to work to that. And during the time, we talked to some people, and we traveled the country. I went to Frederick Petersburg. I went to Tallinn, Estonia, and we had one particular meeting with some officials from the Communist Party, and they were entertaining questions from us. And someone asked, well, what about if people disagree with some of the things, people want to make suggestions or input? And the guys spoke to each other in Russian and said, well, the party comes out, and somebody said, well, what happens if you disagree with the party? And they spoke to each other, looked at each other, spoke to each other in Russian, started laughing, and they said, you don't disagree with the party.
mm,
So, I'm
mm,
just telling you my experience. And then we were getting ready to leave the airport, and one of the girls was taking pictures of people that had hosted us in the airport, and officers came over and snatched her camera, real talk.
wow,
Officers came over, snatched her camera, and they were going to take her camera because they looked at the infrastructure of the airport as one of their vulnerable places. And we were visiting from the United States. And so we had a whole list of things that we shouldn't discuss. Like if somebody came up to you and wanted to buy your American jeans, don't sell it to them because it's black market. So, there are a number of experiences that I had there. But, talking about Lenin and Marxism and all that stuff, I've got books that I had about that. Didn't delve into it as much, I
mm,
mean, so I saw Dawood mention the readings of some of that stuff. So yeah,
yeah,
so I know, a little bit.
yeah. Let
Aware of
me let me get to Eddie real quick. Yeah, we do take money orders. You can send them to the PO box. The address is on the website, reelblack.com. We got EB is here. I mean, he was in the chat, very
Mhm.
active in the chat. You ready? Just give me a thumbs up again because you're bobbing around. All right, you ready for EB?
Yeah, you coming on?
Yeah, yeah. I see EB. Let me pop him in. Hey, man, how's it
Hey,
going tonight?
what up?
Salute to you guys. Salute,
What's
salute.
up?
It's the man in black, or just sitting in the dark.
Where you
You chill. I can see you chilling. Thanks
where
for
you
joining.
where
it's
you
a,
hit, where you hitting
We're
us from?
I'm sorry.
Where you
well,
hitting us from?
yeah.
Oh,
Where you want?
Texas,
Oh,
Oh, what's
Texas.
up,
Oh my gosh. What part of Texas though?
Austin.
bruh? I
Okay,
got
I've
to
not been there
salute you
yet.
for surviving down there, bruh. I got to
You
know
already
what's
know it's a struggle out here. Everyday struggle
Yeah,
out here.
man.
For real.
What
Yeah.
you thinking about what your government, what they're trying to do down there, man? I mean, how are you reacting and how y'all responding to those? That's an attack, offensive actions against black and brown people down there and women.
Man, to be honest, what I'm seeing based on being in the corporate world and day to day, I do see the Browns outnumbering us in jobs, economically wise and whatnot, and having control of who's getting what and, who can move in what sectors, business wise as well. Even getting properties out here, it's hard. It's super hard. But I just had an incident not too long ago. You have immigrants coming here from Puerto Rico, Cuba, etc. you know, they can come here and get a whole house.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we got to struggle. We can't even get no resources.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm.
and
Right.
I even announced that out. I reached out to Homeland. I'm like, hey man, I think y'all need to do something. I ended up getting like watched or putting on the list or whatnot. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So yeah, so it was mind boggling. I'm a homegrown American citizen, you know what I mean? I don't come with no terroristic ideologies or anything. I'm just a
Mm-hmm.
man trying to work and, trying to live like everybody else that seems to be getting the benefits. But the simple fact is, we are being outnumbered right now, and by a lot. We are the minority. And it's scary because with that incident in Buffalo, it just kind of really kind of shed light on a lot of things, that we're kind of lacking in as well. It's
So,
unfortunate.
so let me ask you, EP. You mentioned Dick Gregory, and the
Yes,
videos
sir.
obviously influenced you. I mean, there definitely would be a conspiracy theory around Buffalo in this thing, and I don't want to go into what Baba Dick, what his research might lead us to understand.
Hmm.
But as you say, it is a game. The system is in place. I mean, what was your takeaway when you heard the news? What was your takeaway from it, or was it just America business as usual?
American business as usual, for one, because I was in DC when 9/11 happened and all of that. So I was around people that already kind of, had that vision like, man, this is outrageous. This isn't right. This is weird. This is
Mm,
it's plotted. But as soon as I saw that, it's like, all right, let's try to mark that because it's going to happen somewhere else. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen somewhere else. It comes in threes. So
right.
it's like you got to think about the next move instead of just dwelling on it. And to be honest, I mean, it sucks because it could have been one of us, but we have to think outside the box. And I think that's what Dick Gregory's,
Yeah.
opinion and insight was, just don't think like the normal average guy. Think outside the universe and think what's really happening. Why are they doing it? How did he get trial soon as he walked into that jailhouse? You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
he
Seeing
ain't
a
getting no
judge.
damn bond here nor seen the judge. Yeah, it's like
Yeah. Yeah, they
it's
want to
just
move
a
it.
lot
That's
of
called speedy. So that's I didn't hear that he got a trial or a trial set date or whatever, but that's when they want to. It's almost like optics, right?
yep, yep,
Sometimes they want the optics. Everybody know we moving fast with this. We want to make sure, and they'll move that system fast enough if they want your ass, right? If they
yep.
they will make it happen. So, but yeah, I think a lot of it is also optics. I mean, I remember the exonerated five, how quickly they they moved on them, on those brothers,
Yeah,
mm,
yep.
and made a show of that, so they're going to the other extreme. Yeah, right on. And the mayor, you got a black mayor too, so they want to see it happen. But in doing
Thank
that,
you.
say it again.
oh
I
no,
was
I was
agreeing
just
with you.
Oh,
validating what you said.
oh yeah.
What
But in
EP said.
doing that, I'm hoping that they don't. Hey, we're gonna make it happen and just appease everybody. I wanted to go to the point that you were saying earlier about other people coming into the country and getting and having things easier than our community. I've noticed that seems to be easier for other ethnic groups as well, right?
Mm,
And
yep,
certainly out west where you live. I lived in California for a minute. And I did notice, that people take care of their own a little bit. And there was I definitely noticed the racism, obviously, that's prevalent out there and within the two communities a little bit, you know, and it makes make some people see some points that Candace Owen has made, and some
mm,
black conservatives have made about immigration,
Mm,
and especially since you have a whole population that's been here for 400 years and can't get their full rights and benefits, and our 40 acres were taken away from us, and that generational opportunity for that wealth was stolen from us. So I definitely have noticed that point that you made earlier about that,
mm,
even all the way on the eastern part of the country, you
mm.
know. So,
mm,
but yeah, but even then, with them, like I said, then they had that thing. immigrants from Europe and Ukraine, and it's jacked what's going on there. But you can't help but get a little sour on the system, right? Like you were saying,
Right.
you're like,
Exactly.
we trying to be down with these motherfuckers, and I don't see no progress rolling with them. I mean, with me, I'm on the shit like, okay, Democrats, we just gonna be the punk ass Democrats, right? And shit is so easy for us to point out. It should not be this hard for people to make the case that a dude who encouraged a mob to attack the capital of the country should not be even talked about running for president again. Why is that even an okay thing? So I'm like, okay, clearly there's someone on our side that kind of is embedded, Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, maybe there's more, that are there to kind of throw a wrench in our shit because it's too easy. You know what I'm saying? Look at their PR. They're on one shit. This guy had sent some people up there to hang his vice president. You mean to tell me we can't make a case and run some commercials about that shit and win? So I agree with you. We got to look around and see who's really down with us. If we're talking about building coalitions and shit, a lot of times when we have a coalition with other people, this is what I'm saying about people getting rights that our people have fought for, and then other people come along, they've gotten those rights as well. It's all well and good, but we need you to be there every time we catch this hell. You know what I'm saying? We need you all to stand up with us sometime and to use the power of maybe your whiteness, the power of your money, the power of whatever you have to help us in our cause too. And don't just stand back to the side or whatever. We need you to step up sooner. And then you're going to don't turn around and demand certain things from us, right? Is an all or nothing situation,
True.
Well, let me ask you this though, Eric. I mean, that kind of goes back to what we were saying before about with the Yvette Carnell tweet or post on Instagram where she was saying, you just disappeared, EB, where she was talking about the disparity between. I'm gonna take you away for a second. When he comes back, we'll let him back in if he wants. But no, it goes back to what Yvette Carnell was saying. Like there seems to be when we catch hell, we need to invite everybody, every other minority group that exists in the United States to help us resolve this problem. Whereas when things happen specifically to Asian Americans or queer, LGBTQ, where there are hate crimes there, the powers that be specifically say this is a hate crime against LGBT. Let's address that issue. Let's have a forum around that. Whereas Reverend Al is saying we need to have everybody talk about this hate crime that affects just Black people. It seemingly affects just Black people. So I don't know. I mean, just going back to that, what are your thoughts?
You mean their efforts to compartmentalize it and separate the ones and
well, it seems like when we're catching all the hell and we need help, we get a fraction of it because we're looked upon as people of color,
as part of a whole,
as part of a group of minorities,
right?
But then when you talk about Ukraine or you're talking about,
they're able to get their individual recognition. Yeah,
Asian,
that's what I was saying.
Latino.
Yeah. We've gotten. I mean, we were the kind of ones that break down the barrier with the rights and things like that. Obviously, during the civil rights era, that's what I was saying about and I'm not trying to disparage the LGBT or another community, but when you're identifiable a mile away because of the color of your skin, those people that would do harm to you. And also maybe you're gay or LGBT or non-binary friend, but if you're going to be the one that's going to be the most identifiable immediately, right?
Right.
So therefore, in a survival situation, someone who can blend in to the crowd, right, and can blend in enough to escape or to get help or whatever. But in terms of rights being denied, we have always been the ones that are the first ones that our rights are denied. I mean. The whole system of our country is built on, the enslavement of us and using us as cattle, using us to build this country. and like what a lot of us have said here, was never meant for us to be real citizens of this, or those that came over and brought slaves over here. They never meant for us to be free. That wasn't the original plan.
That hurts. That
Willie
hurts.
Willie Lynch wouldn't have come up with a whole system and a philosophy. I mean, if you read those papers just a little bit, it's like, wow, these cats really, damn, they was breaking this shit down to a science. And just to think that they thought that much about it. I mean, check out Frances Cress Welsleyan when she said we're attacked in 7 areas of society, like entertainment, and how the things are reinforced via the entertainment we see, via the education that we have, via the social interactions that we have, the sports, athletics. She was saying that system is perpetuated in all of those areas. And if you look at it, sometimes it's true. I mean, Hollywood engaged in presenting negative images of Black people and everybody else, for that matter, right?
Blackface,
I mean,
all that.
Yeah, they celebrated Birth of a Nation. They premiered that movie at the White House. Woodrow Wilson. I mean, Ku Klux Klan was marching down. Everybody seen that picture of the Ku Klux Klan marching down in front of the United States Capitol in the 30s or whatever?
I seen that. It was like 1 million of them.
Yeah.
It was at least 1 million of them. I saw that.
And just think about that, man. I mean, I read a book. I was in Detroit doing a play and went to a Black bookstore. And this one book, 100 Years of Lynchings. And all it was newspaper clippings. Because back then when there was a lynching, it was a news event. And these particular news outlets would send a reporter there. They would cover it like a sporting event or whatever. And it was literally just all the time. And some of it was bullshit, and some of the brutality of burning people alive and people making it an event. People are there taking their kids and going out on dates. And part of the thing was to cut an ear off or something, get some sort of souvenir. Barbaric.
Got blood on their hands. That's sick.
So
if generations got blood.
Yes. And if that is your history, then it certainly makes perfect sense that you don't want critical race theory taught. It makes perfect sense that you want to cover up the crimes of your ancestors. And maybe your children, when they learn that, as opposed to looking at you, maybe they'll just say, I don't want to be that. That's not who I want to be. And the only time, and the only time that someone has a problem with people learning the truth of history is when you're trying to control it and you're ashamed of what you did, and you're one of the accomplices. Just like that woman still walking around that set up Emmett Till, still walking around to this day.
She's still
alive, walking around. They found her on Facebook, and she's I'm sorry, I just lost the light, but they found her on Facebook, but went on to live a regular life. I never
got
forgot
blood on her hands. That's sick, dude. That's weird.
I saw that image.
That's America.
That is America. So that's why I say we got to be strategic about how we move, man. I mean, see the movie The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Really good movie about a brother who went into the FBI training and played the game. He was all straight-laced with it, while all the other brothers, the candidates, are going to take the first Black one in. All the other brothers wanted to hang, and and he was not about it. He was not trying to fuck with them, nothing. And they thought he was a sellout. He went and learned all this shit, went back to the streets. He was trying to start a revolution. The movie was only out like about a week. They took that shit out the movie theaters. This was in the 70s. But yeah, man.
I should know this. But what's your Instagram again, Eric?
What is my Eric Payne _ freedom fighter.
Okay, I just want people to follow you.
And check me out on my IMDb too, on my acting tip. Freedom fighter, I have more a little bit, if I'm out at somewhere, I might have some of the public political stuff or some stuff I go to. Just full disclosure, my family's been involved in civil rights and public service in Jersey for a long time. My uncle was the first African-American congressman from New Jersey. And my father and uncle my father was equated with Dr. King. And so that's kind of being in Newark at that time, the uprising. Amiri Baraka, Raz Baraka's father was in high school with my uncle, was on the track team with my uncle. So being around all these people, understanding why we need to move forward and why we need to, Mr. Baraka, he was on the revolutionary team. He was outside the political structure. My father and uncle were a little bit more within the structure, more of the establishment, like the Dr. King route. My father had a little discussion with Malcolm X because my father's friend brought Malcolm X to Rutgers University to speak. My father and Malcolm got into it a little bit. They were having a little debate, so that's kind of the legacy that I'm looking at as we try to figure out a way, man. And I've been watching this shit since I was a kid, y'all, for real. Watching family members get into politics and see how it works and see the dynamics and how we really need to move to free our people, and we do have to learn this system because the system, I'm telling y'all, overthrowing the system, if you're going to do it and let people see you coming, that's never going to work.
No.
So you have to learn how the system works. That's why they're trying to change the rules now. That's why they're not even, it was protocol. It was standard operating procedure that every president would get a Supreme Court nominee.
Yeah.
They made up those rules. We didn't make those rules up. And then when they don't work for them, they want to change them. See, when the election process didn't work for them, when what's-his-face got elected, right? When Joe got elected and Trump lost, what they want to do? They want to come and turn the tables over, break the windows. They don't even want to live up to their own integrity and the things that they establish. You establish this big image of America and America the beautiful and everybody's free and yada yada, and that ain't nothing but our public statement. That ain't nothing but like when we call an acting, the set is a facade. It's just a set. That ain't really a kitchen. That ain't really a stove. That's just a set. It's fake.
Mm.
And so every aspect that you put out into the world and put out there to justify your little I'm the shit and I'm a great, ain't I a hero? We grew up thinking the Indians were the bad guys, right? The Indians was trying to protect their land a lot of times, right? Most of the time, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
they were here first.
And I'm like, I'm of a certain age. I think of the shit that my dad went through of a certain age, seeing what he's seen. My father's going to be 90, God willing, in July, and that's where you learn the truth from. You learn the truth from. My father told me about Israel. He said, the United States didn't help the Jews when they were getting slaughtered by Hitler initially. They didn't jump in there right away to help the people out.
They got forced. Yeah,
it was a minute before they came to that help of the people being killed over there by that idiot. There were some Americans were supportive of him. Charles Lindbergh, the guy who flew plane, was supportive of Hitler. Trump's father. So I mean, we just gotta, gotta play it, strategically when.
And full disclosure, I know a lot of people know me, but they don't know me. I'm not necessarily neutral like Sweden, but I think information is power. I feel like if you just give people the truth, if you feed people the truth, they'll come to their own conclusions, and we can right this ship. But it's very, very frustrating whenever these things happen to hear the same narrative over and over again, which just reinforces this idea that we're second-class citizens. We were never intended to stay here or be a part of this country. Yet we've contributed so much to this country would not exist if not for Black people. So it just, the hypocrisy is what drives me crazy about these things.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, if we don't walk around and talk about, and you'll meet well-meaning white people who, some of them are really down and some don't get it, and some just your presence, just my presence makes some people nervous. You know what it is. EB, you walk in a room, everybody walk in a certain room, motherfuckers, they stiffen up.
Yeah, you go to a campus full of white students and you're the only Black guy and you're talking about slavery, kind of put you in an awkward position. Like, oh shit!
All of a sudden, you got to be the authority on that, right? I've been there. I know. I was in grade school.
It's crazy because I mean, we have people like Kim Paxton, Rick Perry, Ted Cruz, Greg Abbott. Those are some real devil white folks, you know what I'm saying? They don't care. Like, they really will tell you in your face, I don't care about you, nigga. Like, they'll say that, And the laws that they pass and do would be like, man, y'all really just trying to, I don't know. I can't say it like that in the form, like it's secondary oppression, you know what I'm saying? It's like you said, they'll rewrite it and then rewrite it. And then rewrite it to where it just tighten you up. Like, damn, man, we really don't have no voice. Man, we don't have no voice.
Yeah. So that's why
Trying to come.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, just trying to combat that in Texas. From y'all's point of view, as a young man like myself, how do we strategically do that with so many operatives out here? You know what I'm saying? Secondary operatives, like, they all work together. You know what I'm saying? Rick Perry that got his DA out of trouble with no ease, and now he the energy sector and all that. And you know what I mean? Like, how do you combat that? That's just the hardest.
Well,
That's the network you got to create.
Well, I think, Eric, it goes back to what came up on the screen a little while ago from Neely Fuller, the Neely Fuller quote. Let me see if I can find that real fast. For anybody that thinks that the system is broken, they don't understand the system is working exactly the way it's designed to.
Exactly.
So these kind of things, it's unfortunate that Black voice has been neutered to the extent through capitalism. People want money, and they associate money with whiteness, and they'll do anything they can to get this dollar. And I think that's where we get into trouble as Black people.
We kind of, well, I mean, also too, there's so many aspects, right? So let's say brother's coming out of high school, and he's the number one prospect basketball wise to go to this college, which is going to pay for a scholarship, give him a little extra money. Now cats can make money off their image. Or is he going to go to the HBCU, which unfortunately might not be able to offer him as much money, but his presence there might help build the reputation of that school, might help improve the economic foundation of that school, and thus allowing them to attract and be able to offer more scholarships to more top Black athletes that are coming over. So that helps to build the power of the Black institutions, helps to save the Black institutions. And next thing you know, instead of seeing Coach K and them on TV, you seeing Hampton, which is my school, or it could be Morehouse or Howard or whatever, or Prairie View, my brother down there where you at, it could be any one of those schools that's getting all of the TV coverage, right? And the TV rights, And so instead of, University of Kentucky getting the TV rights on CBS, one of the HBCUs is getting. Next thing you know, the HBCU is a powerhouse school that is educating, has the money to educate a lot of Black and brown people, a lot of Black people, a lot of Black professionals. So, I mean, that's part of the foundation. I mean, and then when you have people that have to do the right thing, like that brother, what's the choices he make? The choice has to be what's best for his family. He might want to be down and do it for the community, but he might have to do what he has to do for his family. I always loved LeBron because when he had to do what he had to do for his family, when he got in a position to come back and help the community, he came back and helped the community, yo. That's what I'm talking about. Economic empowerment zone, open up a school where you could teach these young kids. Then you have your own charter school. Then you're affecting the curriculum, right? Then you're affecting what kind of history books they have. Because that Texas is big in ordering history books, and they set the standard for all other history books because they have the biggest school system. So they have the biggest contract. So what they want in their books, they can kind of dictate a little bit.
Yep.
Right. And then, the other thing about the whole disease of racism is how it's designed that, we're not free until all of us are free, kind of thing. And I agree with you. A lot of people are not LeBron. They don't come back to help or try to save things or fix things in their own community. But
well, I mean,
this perception of somebody says all skin folk and kinfolk, that somehow we're aligned because of our skin color. We're automatically aligned in our beliefs, but then we're not taught properly. That's why I always go back to education, information. I think that can level the playing field. And what the Elon Musks of the world and the Donald Trumps of the world, they thrive on chaos. Their ability to control things is by keeping you confused.
Right. Misinformation.
Yeah.
That's how they control their own masses,
Yep.
I mean, you know, anytime people are willing to believe something as ridiculous as, even if as evil as I think some of these individuals are, and as much evidence as I have of that, when I hear someone say, "Oh, so and so has a pizza parlor," which is a front for them to kidnap children and eat them, or whatever crazy shit that they said about Hillary and Pizzagate,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to want to double check that factoid, right? I'm gonna be my first reaction is like, "Get the fuck what? Get the fuck out of
She
here!"
did that.
Yeah, right. So then
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out, you know, and I'm gonna really wait to get confirmation because that shit is sounding so crazy. I'll be like, "Come on, y'all!" And if the group I'm in is saying shit that crazy, I'll be like, "Yo, I gotta be out. Y'all gone too far. I'm not fucking with y'all. Y'all's nuts, you know." And that's the crazy thing that then
Well, people will say anything to get paid, though. That's the problem I have with the society we're in 2022. People,
but
they
Yep.
know they know they're lying. They'll lie to your face. There's no sense of integrity with a lot of this.
well, yeah, I mean,
I,
you know,
Yeah, go ahead, EB.
I'm not gonna lie. That's just like when people are blurting out, "Let's go Ukraine," but they don't really know Ukraine is full of racist white folks. They really don't like blacks. That's just God's honest truth.
they weren't letting them
And
on there.
then when you look at the history of Russia, if you listen to Dick Gregory segments, he'll break it down to you
Mm,
about the treaties and all the other, you know what I'm saying? You got to look at the documents and that we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
That's why I say let's go Russia. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, they fighting something deeper that they know, hey, this is going to affect the whole world. You know what I mean? So
mhm.
Yeah.
a lot of people's narratives, oh, let's just save Ukraine and all of this. And,
Yeah.
oh, these dudes is over there killing people and putting their people on the phone and making them talk to their moms while they
Yeah.
torturing them. Like, is that what y'all wanted? This is what y'all paying for? This is like a
Mhm.
show. Like, it's not
Well,
a gimmick.
well,
Mm.
one of the
You
things
know,
I can share with EB, like we went to a lot of his Dick Gregory's last shows, and I think my understanding is that we have one of them on video somewhere, but we have to get permission to post it. And certainly, if they're demonetizing us, I'm not going to give content to YouTube at this point. YouTube is not our friend.
yeah,
Um,
don't do it.
you know,
Don't
but
trust them.
what he was saying on the eve of the election was that it was what you're saying, that the universe is in control. Like whatever happens, he would say the lesser of two evils is still evil, and the universe is coming to take back itself.
Hmm,
So that we just have to weather these storms in the process, but that it's all designed to work out a certain way, you know.
true.
So
Agreed.
so these patterns, though, this system of white supremacy, not only needs to be addressed, but it needs to be dismantled if we're going to move forward as a country,
Yep.
because there's just too much hate involved,
Humanity.
and powers the power structure thrives off of divide and conquer. So
Well,
it's for 400 years it's used skin color as a way to divide us and keep us separated. But I hope that the people watching, the people that are using these social media platforms, just are using them for their own, using a big word, self-aggrandizement, just to see themselves and do selfies and compare themselves to Kim Kardashian. But I
you
honestly
said you
believe,
said you hope that that that
no,
that
I
that
hope
horse
that
is
that's
out the
not.
barn, bro.
I hope that
That
we
we
can
stopped
use
doing it. We
we
learned
can
to we
we can
learned to
use this
not do it as
technology.
much.
The technology is here for us to have a
It's positive.
revolution, and we're just taking pictures of
Yeah.
each other's butts and
We got to think
and
for
kittens.
ourselves.
My
Think
cousin
on
is
your
telling
own.
me, like, hey, like, I mean, we had to take a lot of content down, right? So I understand
Mhm.
what's going on with the channel in terms of the number to subscriber ratio. Like our viewer to subscriber ratio is definitely because a lot of people during the pandemic enjoyed watching movies at home for free, right? And we were there to entertain them, but the people that are left, I hope that we can spark some real thought and have folks take action to support the things that they want to change, so that we can move things a little bit further, and that the next generation, we're not having these same topics of discussion, or if we are having these same topics of discussion. Thanks, EB, for popping in. If we are having these same topics of discussion, another generation from now, it will be advanced to the point where people can say, I got that information from Reelblack. So that's what we're trying to hang on to. I'm not interested in deleting a whole bunch of videos just so some money can come in, because at this point all that money is going to Uncle Sam. But what I really sincerely want is to use this platform to spark discussion and hopefully make people, especially if they're in places like as affected as Buffalo, to feel connected to. All right, there's some smart people, brothers and sisters out there that really want to unify and really want to share information and knowledge and wisdom. So, and I feel like that's our calling at this point.
Yeah. EB brought up what kind of things what active steps we can take. I think on an everyday basis. I think one, you could at your job where you are and in your community, find like-minded people, form some of those organizations. Also get to know the representatives that are elected. Let them know that you represent yourself and a number of people. I mean, you have when you have an organization and you approach some of these people that are in charge of making the decisions, i.e. politicians and people who are making policies that affect our daily lives, you have to approach it with the fact that we have enough votes to get you out. And since we're still voting so far in this world and in most of these states, you got to be really effective in the organizing. They said Obama, was a community organizer, and people like Rudy Giuliani tried to make fun of that. But, our community has always been that community organizers, right? I mean, we had no choice during the days of slavery and after, and Jim Crow. That those of us that were trying to fight, work towards freedom, they organized the community in whatever way they could. And they branched out and built out further, and included more and more, and sought out more people, like-minded people.
But you feel that this has to happen within the system, like it can't happen outside the system.
No, I think from what I've seen, effectively areas where the system was changed by people getting in certain positions. But we have to understand the positions of power, and we have to understand how the system works, right? So for example, the Republicans and all of them, they recognize the value of federal judges, right? Putting judges on the court. So they went about approaching that. Their state governments, Republicans in a lot of these states that are voting to restrict voting rights, they recognized, that more and more people were able to vote, obviously, that become a part of our society. But, they're voting more Democratic. So we need to restrict it, That's all right, brother.
That's why running it down.
Locking up black young brothers in jail for these minor offenses, and they lose their right to vote when they come out. Florida, that was a big thing in Florida recently, where the ex-offenders that have served their time can get back their rights.
Well, I think Zoltar, I think the reason why anybody's really discussing Ukraine is the two things that I'm seeing: the double standard in terms of bringing Ukrainian immigrants into the United States, and the country's willingness to do so, as opposed to when it was other countries with darker, like Haiti, and darker skinned people. It's harder to get that kind of aid when you see a black country or an African country that's war torn. And then the other aspect of it is the way it's affecting the economy. It's very difficult for people not to associate those two ideas when the headlines are war in Ukraine and then the economy is happening at the same time. So I don't know if you have any feelings about that, Eric.
You mean
are you following the chat?
I was looking at the chat. You talk about the difference of the treatment.
Yeah, well, the reason why it's a topic, because normally these kind of things go by the wayside. Like, I mean, there's wars happening everywhere, and they don't get this kind of press. I think
Well,
it's
I mean, that's because it's because it's Russia and they're making the
yeah,
move that they're making. That's why, and
yes,
because it was predicted, right? I mean, that's why Trump was trying to get the president of Ukraine to help him out with Joe, and he was going to talk to Putin and get Putin off his back. That was the whole setup right there, right?
right,
And Trump couldn't get money to do what he needed him to do. Joe wins the election, and that blows up their whole plan.
right.
Yeah, Mike. You remember who said that? Who was it? Was it Ike? Right? Didn't Eisenhower warn us about the
A
military
military industrial complex,
complex? So
yeah, right before he died.
yeah. Well, that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, gun
Uh,
sales are
I
up,
mean,
and anytime this stuff hits the news, gun sales go up. So
yeah.
it's not a bad thing, but
You think that they'll let a third party, Jay Frank? I don't think that was tried before, right? The Democrats and the Republicans will shut
well,
that down. Look what they did
well,
to Ross Perot.
he's just responding to an earlier question. Like somebody said, vote for who? Because he said, vote your beliefs.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's really what it is.
so,
Is
but
vote your beliefs and vote your interests.
that it's important. The back and forth is the belief one that it's important just to voice your perspective and that your vote matters, and other people are like voting for the lesser of two evils is still evil kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's true. But you're dealing with less evil.
there's certain
Come on, I wouldn't be surprised,
parties
Zach.
there's certain parties that have made their agenda known, and as a black person I can't be down with that, because they're against me.
Right, exactly.
They're against Roe v. Wade, which is
So
something we didn't talk about.
yeah, I mean, it's like this. If you know that the actions, maybe you don't know, right? But once
Mhm.
you find out there's certain actions that are being taken by an entity disproportionately hurt someone else, another group or of people or whatever that disproportionately affects them, then and you still continue to support that entity that's disproportionately affecting and impressing on a particular group, then one could assume that you really support that type, condone that type of behavior, or you don't like that group that is being affected negatively by the
Mhm.
actions by whom you support, right? Because once you know better, you're supposed to do better. So if you know somebody, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to be a Republican and you know that their actions are detrimental systematically, uh, disproportionately hurting black people or a particular group or a particular this or that, then why would you do that? If you know their actions are ones that are inciting of violence, and you claim to be a peaceful person and we all need to live in happiness in the United States, then why would you be with them? Or I'd rather if you were the Lincoln Project. I could see that if you're telling me you're part of the Lincoln Project and you're not down with that, you're walking away from that. But I mean, there were even people in Trump's administration that said, "Yo, this is too far. This is too far." You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they even weren't. And I don't know whether they were practicing the white supremacy or working to perpetuate that, but I know that they got to a point where I guess their sense of whatever it was based in decency and what America is really supposed to be got to them, and they couldn't stand it anymore. And others are still towing the line, like Mark Meadows and Kevin McCarthy, and even though they've been heard saying shit on video. So
Mm.
I mean,
No, yeah, it seems clear if you're going to vote, it's very clear. They have the power in the Supreme Court now to be totally transparent about their agenda, and their agenda is to reverse the clock.
exactly. Chris Dragnet. I'm sorry, Chris Dragnet said exactly what I'm talking about. Because
Yeah.
it starts not to be exclusive of any other community, but we need to help ourselves. We need to circulate that black dollar within the community. That's why they hated Tulsa, Oklahoma, y'all. Because that black
Mhm.
dollar circulated. I know one of y'all out there know how many times it circulated. I was going to say 16 times, but it might have been as high as 32. But I know one of y'all will come up with that. I don't know if you know that,
Oh,
Mike. But
when you
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
spend the money, when you couldn't spend the money. Well, the good
No,
thing
no,
is
no, no,
there's
no, 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 not when you couldn't spend the money. I'm
well,
talking about you recirculate the
right.
dollar
Well, I'm
within the
saying
community.
when in Tulsa when it was segregated, when you couldn't spend the money outside your community, it stayed there.
Oh
It
yeah,
stayed
well
within
yeah,
your community.
because it was prohibitive for you to go outside the community. Yeah,
Right.
but I'm
Yeah.
saying that, and that worked to the advancement, to the benefit of the community. Yeah, yeah, Mike, I agree 100%, and we know
Right.
why that was created, right? So,
Right.
but I mean, we need to get back to that, and EB, if you're still listening, if you're still on, oh Yessie, we need to get back to that, working to circulate that. Yep, there's one nation. There is a black bank, and Killer Mike is doing something with Greenwood, but there's one United Nation or something like that, which is another black bank, And also too, it has to be. I'm glad I saw that earlier. You put that up, Brax, out of 170, but they're black owned. You got some of them. We really have to be intentional in spending money. I saw a story about a black family, a sister raising her two daughters, and her and their family. She was really intent on buying everything black, and she would go out of her way, and sometimes she would drive out of her way to support black businesses, black products, and stuff like that. And she said, "That's my mission, to do that." And now that we have that, and there's some websites that tell you what are black brands, black products, and like anybody who might have an issue with it, it's not exclusionary. It's just us self-help. So you got to support your own, and that's how you build the financial base to build a community. 42. I didn't know that. Wow, that's a lot.
Only black,
Wow. We need a lot more. Some will, eventually go out of business. Some aren't best. I mean, there's one here in Jersey that I tried to do business with a little bit, that we do a little business with, that, they need to step it up a little bit. But, you can't be making too many mistakes with people's money. According to Google, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is a great conversation.
Oh yeah, we're just talking, huh? Yeah, we've been talking for 2 hours. All right, y'all.
Yeah, we want to wind it down. Any final thoughts, or people want to join in?
I don't know what happened to Ali. I hope he's all right.
Yeah,
we ended up talking about politics, y'all.
I know it was a good conversation. And shout out, thank you everybody. Let me take this advertising down. Because I'm about to talk about my mom here, so let me get that away, so people don't think I'm trying to capitalize off my mother. But I just want to sincerely thank everybody who reached out. I made an Instagram post yesterday. She passed away at 2:00 yesterday afternoon, very peacefully. And I got swarms of texts and messages and condolences. And I just want to take the time to thank everyone who reached out and expressed their condolences for the loss of my mom. Oh, Detroit Paulie's here. I'll get you in a second. So, but just if you're gonna have a drink tonight, pour a little liquor or Toke or whatever it is, a Hershey bar, whatever it is, it gets you into a higher state of consciousness. Just think about my mom for a minute, and let me find that photo again. That's the way I like to remember her. So, I'm so grateful for the time. I know a lot of people don't get to have their mothers for 77 years, so I'm real grateful for that. And I know I made her proud, so that gives me a great deal of good feeling. So Detroit Paulie, if you want to come on, you can. I just need to see your face again. But there you go. All right. So that was he goes in and okay, hang on. Let me figure out what I'm doing. I'm taking my mom.
You went back, away. Chris. You went back with that, Chris.
Oh, you're following something? Well, here, you want to meet this Detroit Paulie TV?
Yeah, Detroit.
Hey, well, tell us about your
Quality
platform
TV.
before you go too far into it. What's Detroit
Okay.
Pauly TV? It sounds like a YouTube channel.
Yeah, Detroit Pauly TV. First of all, hats off to Reelblack TV, man. I've been watching you for years, man, and millions of
Thank you.
views, and you just been educating me for years, man. And I'm finally here on the screen talking to you. Detroit Pauly, I'm Paul Johnson Jr., based out of Detroit, Michigan. I'm a playwright. I've written over 20 stage plays, including Black Wall Street. We're gonna talk about that later, but Black Wall Street. I'm a filmmaker now. I've jumped into film now, and I got a movie called West Side Story, and it's got over 150,000 views on YouTube now. And I'm just
Congrats.
dedicated to my craft. I'm a medical marijuana patient, so you might see me smoking some bud or whatever. But
Right.
however, I'm just a Detroit talented young man. I also portray Donnie Hathaway. So I put the hat on, the Apple hat on, and the turtleneck, and I play and sing as well. So I'm from the Motown. So people say they see a ghost when I do this Donnie Hathaway show.
What?
I love it.
So, yep. So I commend you, brothers, for speaking on all the different issues and everything. So yeah, I wrote a play about Black Wall Street. When I heard you talk about Tulsa, that prompted something within me. We got a cast of about 15 people in Detroit that are dedicated to this production, and we put it on anywhere and everywhere. So, I don't know where that may lead, but we got a production that I wrote out, for Greenwood, particularly for the 1921 massacre. I call it a massacre because that's what it was.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Oh God, yes. They're dropping bombs on people. It's
Yeah.
horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's a shame. Like we have a documentary until I saw and it was Charles had it. I didn't. I just heard Black Wall Street, how powerful we were. But when you watch a documentary and you listen to some of the survivors, I mean that was pure terror. What they did.
Yeah.
You can't even imagine how horrible that was. They literally dropping firebombs on people. So and in America, and this is the kind of information that they don't want shared. So
yeah.
So the only other place they did that was in Philadelphia when they
Philadelphia,
dropped it
yeah.
on the
Yeah.
move to move people. So
I was
Paulie,
there for that. I'm from Philly. I was alive when that happened. So
Paulie, you guys do the play wherever, and you're on the road. Are you hip to the Clubhouse? That platform?
In Detroit? Are you
no,
talking
no,
about?
I'm talking about
the phone app.
the
Oh yeah,
phone
yeah.
app,
I'm
Clubhouse.
actually familiar with it. I'm just getting familiar with it. I'm more of a hands-on person, and for years I've been like really in touch with my people, with my community. I do the social media and everything, but I use it for like branding and like relaunching my brand and renewing my brand. I don't
Right.
get too far into Clubhouse because I've heard that it was more like just a lot of people just shooting the crap around and just kind of But
You
it may
gotta
be something.
you got to find the right room. Look for the room. No egos. Networking and entertainment business. Sometimes with Bob Sumner, Def Jam, comedy talent, scout talent finder, good friend of mine. But there's a lot of exchange of good information and networking in that room and people in the business. And so it might be something that you might want to get on. And it might be, a way that something you can collaborate with some good people on there. So it's the No Egos room in the Clubhouse app. I get in there every once in a while and stuff like that. So it's Mike, you listened in a couple
I'm on
of times.
Clubhouse too. Yeah. No Egos pops up on my feed quite frequently. So
Yep, I'm putting it in my list now, so the things to check for. But I appreciate you guys, man. I recently got a hold to some space. We got 5 acres of space in a building right off the corner of Southfield and actually in Southfield, right across 8 Mile. And we just got space, man. A whole bunch of space, office space, and I utilized the space to shoot a comedy series called Black Square Circle, and I shot it in 3 weeks. We got about 10 episodes. And I'm utilizing all my time now because time ain't gonna wait for nobody, man. So I'm utilizing time the right way to put people in the position to try to set themselves up to get YouTube channels and monetization, or just even giving them a job to act, after the pandemic, something to do. So I'm trying to stay positive and keep my head on, man. I appreciate you guys. I don't want to stay long or anything.
No, that's what I want to do, though. I mean, I'm glad you jumped on, and I'm glad you talked about your channel because I would love. I mean, we had an Empowerment Tuesday thing that I was trying at one point to get people just to talk about their platforms and try to get more channels up to monetization status just by getting more subscriptions. So I hope that everybody who's watching this we'll go into. I'll do it right now. Subscribe to Detroit Paulie TV. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, Detroit Paulie TV. So
is that where we could see the show you were just talking about too?
Yeah, you can see everything. You can see West Side Story, my movie. You can see my web series, Detroit De Niro, Black Square Circle, all of these different things. I don't know how it pertains to what you guys are like talking about. I don't go as deep as you into the black, I mean, you guys are like literally teachers. I look at you guys like, gurus, you're teaching. Brother. And what I'm doing is just more of just entertainment and just theater, teaching through theater, and films and things like that.
So, that's one of the original purposes of theater, educate and entertain, like Mike was saying. But when you get that, that first one-on-one class, they tell you drama is to, people sat around the fire back in the day, exchange news and tell people what was happening. That's how they told stories and stuff like that. So, it spurred from there. That's what they claim anyway,
Yeah. Well, let me just pop that up for people so they can see it.
Put that link up there so we can.
Detroit Paulie TV. You're killing it. You're only 2,000 subscribers, but you got that 150,000 views. So
yeah. We just reaching over 2,000 subscribers. I'm sorry about that, but it's growing exponentially. The numbers are going up. I really don't have to do anything but just put out the content now.
Right.
We got monetized and everything looking good on that end. And I would encourage anybody who has a YouTube channel to kind of, like I say, just create that group or people to latch on to that's doing the same thing that you're doing. Reach out to them because we are human beings, and we answer just like anybody else. So
right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't take your 150,000 views away, but if you ever have a video that you want to put on the channel, just to amplify it, let me know. We base around. Our baseline is right now between 2,000 and 5,000 views on anything, so if there's something that you want to get more traction on, or even if it's just a promo video, like, hey, come check out Detroit Paulie, just send it my way and we'll put it on the channel. Cause I'm still looking for content. It's, we have a very viable platform. We're still getting 3 million views a month. So,
nice.
So yeah, by all means, I'm glad we made this connection. I'm gonna bring EB back in, but thanks again, Detroit Paulie.
Detroit Paulie to the D.
Too, y'all on Instagram or no? That's how I reach out to people.
Yeah, hang on, right there, Instagram and Twitter and TikTok at Reelblack. So,
got it. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, fellas, man. Have a blessed evening, man.
All right, what up to the D?
Yep.
All right, and then EB will be our last thing. Hey, you're back. Welcome, Black.
My brother.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for all the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Opening eyes on different realms and specters. And keep doing what you're doing. Y'all got my support. And I appreciate Detroit Paulie too. He woke too. I like what he doing as well.
Yeah,
he got my support. I'm about to go subscribe right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna subscribe from both channels, because I think, that's the benefit of being undercover, and I consider us undercover brothers.
Yeah.
That we can have these conversations and sort of advance things, virally. Bring things to a tipping point. So I feel great. I'm learning about West Side Story. And it gives me thoughts about maybe we should, Eric, maybe we should be making some movies, and putting them on the platform.
That was the original intent, right? We got to get back.
So we need scripts too.
Some content.
We can bring people together to find money. If I read a good script, I would do a Indiegogo to make a movie. It's been a long time since I've made a movie, and Eric is a great actor, so I can see the building blocks. It's been I haven't been able to see that clearly all the time because there's so much going on at one point, and then my mom, and then this, and then that. But I really want to use the visibility that we have on the platform to help grow people into better human beings. So educate, entertain, enlighten, and empower.
And it's exchanging that information, man. I mean, I don't know if there's I'm gonna assume in Texas where you in Houston, there's Black Talk Radio. You know what I'm saying? Where we at least a black station where people can get on and we can have, it's the drum in the community, right?
Right.
Letting people
True.
know what's going on and exchanging that information and all this stuff. All these platforms give us an outlet to share information. I most value when Mike and I reconnected, just some of the footage he had. I didn't know that I knew him until I found his card. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this brother. And I've seen people share their own personal videos of a interview with Minister Farrakhan, or when they went to see Farrakhan, or tape some, or with a number of great black thinkers and speakers that they might have had the VHS back in the day. And they're able to throw it up now on YouTube and share it with everybody else, and know this is how we connect our people from all across the country, and know what the issues are with all of us. So,
right. No, absolutely. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go, EB, and then we're gonna wind it up.
Yes,
Thanks again. Yeah, don't be a stranger.
We
try to come on every Monday at 8. We didn't come last Saturday, but Mondays at 8 is our time slot. So you're always welcome to come back and chat. But it was fun hanging out with you.
Yes, sir, man. RP to your mother, man. Right. Stay strong, brother.
EB, take care, brother.
Yes, sir, Mr. Payne. Thank you, Mike D. Mr. D. Thank you.
All right, man. Peace. That was a great session. Great, what do you say, building session, chopping it up.
Yeah, and that's I know everybody. We all wanted to sound off a little bit. I'm laughing. I'm reading y'all in the chat. Vic, I saw you just said you still got VHS lectures. Yeah, but they're valuable. I still got a bunch of them too, man.
Well, we need them so we can share them.
Exchange them and share them and put them up. I mean, that's like I said, it's a lot of great black thinkers that are regional. So if you're in one part of the country and I'm in another part of the country, I might not be hip to some people in your local area that are great black thinkers or just great thinkers and have a perspective about things. So likewise with me, I mean, I live in the New York area, so I've been exposed and been around, a lot of people. Professor Leonard Jeffries is not a well-known, but those who know of Professor Leonard Jeffries, so a black scholar, but he's one of those ones in the lineage of Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and Dr. Van Sertimer,
He caught a lot of heat too at one point.
Dr. Van Sertimer?
Dr. Jeffries.
Oh, Dr. Jeffries. Yeah, they
He's
just tried
outspoken.
Jam him a couple of weeks ago when I asked Katanji if she had read some of his writing or some old wild stuff when she was being confirmed. So that's it. But yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So let me find your Instagram again, so I can throw it up on the screen. Mine's at Reelblack. I'll throw this up real quick so people can see it. And then your Instagram is Eric Payne _ freedom fighter.
Right. That's my Instagram.
Any other plugs?
And the other plug, check out me on, if you want to know all of my all the movies and stuff I did, you can check me out on IMDb. And also Off the Beaten Path is our YouTube channel that we have. My sister and I are producing a show on that. You could check out, see what that's about. And also Hackerish. Michael Ralph, who's a friend of mine who's been on the show before, has a golf and travel show, and letting y'all know where you can go play golf, y'all, and get your golf on. There's a lot of black people out there that are playing golf, that have been playing golf, and there's a whole history behind that we got to talk about, Mike.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Anytime. Hey, I'm not seeing it right away. We had such an active chat. I can't find your IG stuff, but
that's all right. Eric Payne _ freedom fighter. I'm on IG.
I'm gonna find it. So many people were talking. Oh my God.
Brother Vashawn, my brother. Hope you're well.
I'll have to look back at this and see when it heated up. I think the Ukraine thing got people hot. Yeah. More so than the Buffalo. Yeah. Buffalo's hot too.
Yeah, let's say some prayers for the people's family in Buffalo, as we say some prayers for our brother Mike as well. Sending him love and strength and everything you need to,
Thank you. I appreciate it. When I lost my grandmother, I was devastated. I was not prepared. Nothing like that had ever happened to me in life, so and when she passed, she said, look after your mother. and
that was your charge. That's what you did.
That's what I did, and it wasn't the easiest life, but it was a life well lived and full of love.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna miss her every day.
I feel you, brother.
But I know she's in a better place, and I know my job isn't over. It feels like a big chapter is closed, but and that there's all kinds of turmoil happening. But I think I'll have to talk to you offline, but maybe we can solicit a script and get something made.
Oh yeah,
we definitely have enough numbers to get some traction going on something. So between that and the Patreon, I think we need to do something this summer that demonstrates that there is strength in numbers, and that Reelblack as an entity does have a great deal of power. That it's just not spectatorship, but it's really about how do we make people better people. How do we grow into better human beings? How do we take the legacy of Baba Dick and move it to the next phase? So, but I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me, Eric. And I'll be back on these same channels in the morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time, playing jams by request. That's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Right now.
You also check it out. If you haven't checked Mike out, Mike jams in the morning, man.
It's very therapeutic. Well, I see Michael Ryan's here, Dawood, Victor Thomas. They're part of our morning regular team, our breakfast club, in a sense. And I don't know what we're gonna play tomorrow, but it's gonna. We've been playing a lot of '80s funk, and Dawood and Michael have been helping me discover some new music. They come up with the obscurities. Like, I don't know how their brain works, but they
80s funk. I'm gonna have to check in tomorrow, see what y'all kicking.
Sounds good.
80s funk.
All right. Well, that's about it, everybody. I don't know what the theme's gonna be tomorrow. I haven't thought about it. But it's whatever it is gonna be jamming. And I'm gonna start on time. So we'll start right at 9 o'clock Eastern.
All neo soul. That's what's up.
Oh, neo soul. Okay, you want to do?
That's a nice groove right there.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see what we can do with that. All right. Chris called it all neo soul. Tuesday. If you want to call it that. We need to hear some George Clinton. Well, George Clinton and neo soul. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of a mix, huh?
Maybe George Clinton on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Eric, thank you, everybody who watched, who hung out. I think I feel enriched. I don't know about you, Eric.
Yeah. Thanks you guys for looking at my stuff, Dawood and Chris. I forgot to say I was on it was on New Amsterdam, but I'm wearing a surgical mask. Those 2 episodes came on, but thanks for checking those out, man. And like that there, blessing to everybody. Be safe out there.
Okay, I'm gonna log off. Thanks, man. Peace.